Hello, everyone. Welcome to our small webinar today, early morning in Europe, and I think already late evening in Australia, where we have a guest speakers from. Before I jump and present our guest today, because you probably already, if you're on INNELS page, know me and Andre, I would like to say a couple of words about what this webinar will be today about. So we will speak about, as you can see in the title, about the data, about how to use the data in a smart way when selling on Amazon. And there are a couple of things that we will be speaking about. So how to make a great cost composition and plan the budget before selling on Amazon, which is very important. Then what are the key metrics to track when you are selling on Amazon, and how to understand your trends and improve your SEO PPC strategy. So this is the main agenda and main topics that will be today spoken. And before we jump and start our webinar today, I would like to present two people who you can see. So first is Veronica from ZonGuru, the tool which is actually will be presented a bit later today. And maybe it would be great if you, Veronica, can tell a bit more about yourself and how you joined ZonGuru, and as well as about the company.
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Veronica, I'm from ZonGuru, and I am head of business development. How I got involved into ZonGuru or into the Amazon space, I'm an Amazon seller, so I was actually a customer of ZonGuru first. And as the universe would have it, I got part of the team was actually through my brother. So Amazon is a hot topic in our household. Myself, my partner, my brother, we're all Amazon sellers, and that's how I got involved in the ZonGuru team. In terms of what is ZonGuru, ZonGuru is an Amazon business tool suite, which I will be showing you a little bit later, but we basically have 17 tools that are integrated into Amazon's 10 major marketplaces, and we have solutions for not only Amazon sellers but also agencies and enterprise brands, and we help you basically manage, scale, and optimize your Amazon businesses.
So it's already for you like a tradition within the family. So many people are working within Amazon. It's cool to hear, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a lot of value that ZonGuru can provide. You will see it in practice because Veronica will do a little demo and tell about it. I really believe that the tool is great from also the visual perspective. Sometimes when you're working with the tool every day, it's very interesting to see something more appealing for your eyes and not have a bad design. But I can say the same about the Merchant Spring, and we've been using Merchant Spring for quite a while, and would like to represent James, who is a co-founder. And Merchant Spring is a great way how we actually show all of our clients the data breakdown and different data in terms of how they're selling on Amazon. We really like the tool already for some time, and maybe James would be also interesting to hear your story and connection with the Merchant Spring.
Cool, thanks, Mark. Yeah, I don't have as a family-based story that Veronica has, but sometimes I wonder how I even got into this space. But yeah, I've been around in e-commerce for a while, and yeah, founded Merchant Spring with a couple other people. Essentially, what it is, it's really a tool for agencies and aggregators, right? Just to see all their clients and give the clients something to interact with in terms of the data. So yeah, keeping it nice and short for you there, Mark.
Yeah, sure. I think it will speak by itself when you will show it later today. But yeah, thank you very much for presenting. We will start with Andre and speak a few topics. Especially, I would like to jump here before, if you maybe don't know who is me or Andre, I will tell a couple of words about INNELS. With Andre, we opened the agency, a full service agency, 3.5 years ago. I think it's going to be like maybe 4 years in October or something. And we are providing a full service, which means that we are not only helping to launch and sell companies on Amazon, we have a lot of additional services which are needed in order to sell on Amazon. For example, legal and tax compliance, translations, graphic design, and etc. And the three things that you can see here on the screen, it's the way we work. We really like to be data driven and keep up with the latest updates and features that Amazon has. We have this full service implementation, and speaking about marketplaces, we know how to manage Amazon in all marketplaces. It's not only European or American marketplaces. And this is, I believe, that's some of the value that we will later also provide and speak how we can provide to you. Jumping to the first thing, and I will I will have here a few words about the cost composition, since I work quite a lot with the companies who are just new to Amazon, and they're just asking how to plan better their budgets, break even, profits, and etc. And I work quite a lot with the companies who never sold on Amazon, but they don't know how the business looks like. And the first point here, what I would like to say, that Amazon always has a higher fees than your own web shop or other solutions where you sell your products. But it's very important to say that advertising spend will be much lower on Amazon in the long term, because there is a general rule that one click that you get, one sale that you get from advertising leads to 3 sales that you get in organic results. And it means that even though you spend 15% commission referral fee to Amazon, and then plus to this you spend advertising, in the long term you will be able to optimize your products and be on the top of the search pages, which means that in the long term you can have much less advertising that you spend somewhere else and have the same sales on Amazon. And besides this, why you pay this 15% is because Amazon brings you a huge customer base, which is much better and much more interested to convert with your products and on your web shop, for example. And second, I want to mention is that when you evaluate the competitors and when you evaluate the market, you can understand quite a lot about the fees. For example, how much would you pay for FBA? What is the referral fee? You will be able to understand how much competitors are selling. And there are great tools, again, like Zone Guru, which will be presented today, which allow you to see, even if you are not a seller on Amazon, you can go and see how much your competitors are selling per month in volume, in terms of units, in terms of revenue, which is a very great data, as well as you can see how many people are searching for your products within the different keywords, which represents 2 things, demand and supply. And this demand and supply kind of can give you an understanding of how profitable, how interesting your business can look like on Amazon. And last thing that I want to say here is that before you jump on Amazon, plan your goals accordingly. Many of us at INNELS already saw that many clients, they want to see profits in the first 3 months. It's of course interesting and it's possible if you, for example, the private label seller. But if you're a brand, we would really recommend to spend advertising budget also on the brand awareness, which will play in the long term, and spend on creating a great brand store, great A+, building great reviews, and have different options to not only push people and sell products, but to play in the long term. Because once you have this great brand presence on Amazon, it means that customers which will buy products, they will be returning customer, and it's again investing in a long term. So yeah, plan your goals accordingly. And before I also give a word to Andre, I want to say that if you see a comment section on the LinkedIn, then feel free to ask any questions, or also later if you watch it on other channels in the repeat. So Andre, there is a few words that I want to ask you to tell about, is specifically about how to evaluate different metrics.
Sure, thanks, Mark. And I think that's you covered a really important point of advertisement, and that is a crucial part to invest in an Amazon, because basically those two, organic and sponsored sales, those are connected. So when you are investing in advertisement, you're actually helping your organic position of the brand, of the products in the long run. And when evaluating results, of course, there are tons of different metrics that Amazon actually shows now. And we can see that they're investing a lot into giving different metrics, tools for the especially brand owners. But when speaking about PPC, of course, it all comes down to some basics, understanding that if you're a new on Amazon and you're running some campaigns, of course, you want to ensure that you understand metrics like impressions. So what is your visibility on Amazon? This basically stands for the person who is searching for the keyword, scrolling to the search page, and then if your sponsored product or brand appears there, it's going to be counted as a one impression. So this is really important to understand, to check your campaigns on this, whether you have this visibility. Then, of course, around half a year ago, we saw that Amazon also gave us an option to see the top of the search, which basically represents how often your campaigns are actually on top of the first page. So when you're searching for the keyword, you actually see it within the first two modules. Here, there are two important scenarios to understand. Of course, in most of the cases, it's nice to be on top of the search and to ensure that customers are actually seeing your products a lot when searching for the specific term. But sometimes when you're selling really generic products where actually people do a lot of research, though it doesn't mean that, let's say, I'm looking for the linseed oil. Okay, this is the product I'm interested in buying. I see the linseed oil, nice reviews, nice title. I'm gonna check and probably I'm gonna convert. But if it's something like gift sets, people are more likely to actually go through a couple of different pages and then only make a decision. So sometimes it's also nice to not only take into account the search, top of the search, but also maybe in this case to focus on product targeting. So you ensure that you're catching up on this customer later on this journey. And yeah, click-through rate, of course, super important metric. So how often people actually click on your product when they see on Amazon. And here you want to ensure that the most important, that you work on your image a lot, you work on your of course, reviews, price, but the image is super important for the click-through rate. You want to ensure that it's a relevant product. You always want to ensure that before running an advertisement, you go and search for the keywords you're planning to target and see if it actually makes sense. Like what you can do with your made image. Maybe you can do something with the title to just stand out from the competitors. And yeah, next one, of course, you want to ensure that you understand how the advertising cost of sales works. And basically, ACOS stands for advertising cost of sale, and it is calculated by dividing ad spend by ad revenue. And it basically measures the efficiency of your advertising campaigns. And in the beginning, the goal for the ACOS and ROAS, of course, could be completely different from what it actually is after some time you're selling in Amazon. Here again, you really want to ensure that in the beginning you get this a lot of visibility, ranking, and indexing. And another metric that actually I can see not all the brands are paying special attention to is new to the brand. Basically, which shows you like amount of people and the percentage that never actually were interacting and purchasing anything from your brand. And it's really valuable information to keep track on how many retaining customers you have and how many actually new ones that you are getting, you are introducing your brand to different keywords. So this is just some basics about the PPC. So if we move forward to the next slide. Yeah, then of course, when it comes to the account, as also Mark mentioned, I elaborated, both organic and sponsored, those are connected in Amazon. And when evaluating the overall results of the account, you really want to ensure that you also focus on your total cost of sales, which is measures relationship between ad spend and total sales. So in other words, it's just the ratio of ad spend in total sales and percentage. And you calculate your tacos with this formula, like ad spend divided by total sales multiplied by 100, and then you get your tacos. So here it shows you the overall results, how efficient you are with your advertisement and with your organic ranking. And sometimes people are too much focused on the advertising cost of sales, but it could be that actually your total cost of sales is efficient around 15-20%, and then it doesn't matter that much if ACOS is higher. Maybe that's actually your goal. You want to push some keywords more to get more organic ranking. Hence, of course, it helps your overall account results. Then recently, Amazon also allowed us to see not only overall sessions, how many people are actually looking into your product detail pages, but now it's actually divided by both mobile and desktop. So this allows you to understand where the traffic mainly comes from, whether it's mobile or desktop. This allows you to also understand how do you structure your content. You always want to check how your listing also looks on the mobile phone in terms of images, title, and what is the information that actually people see. This is super important to take into account. And this also, of course, affects the conversion rates. And here you always want to ensure that you both have the relevant traffic that is brought to your detail page, and then of course you work on the product listing to ensure that the conversion rate is actually on the decent level. If you go to brand analytics, that's mainly for the brand sellers, you can actually get a lot of insights about demographics. So it's important to understand who is your buyer, whether those are mainly women or men that are buying products. This is important to actually structure the content and the wording on the product listing. Who is your buyer? What do you want to communicate? How do you connect with them with the images? At the same time, also always pay attention to the alternative purchases, which are also available on the brand analytics. So you have the data. So if people are not buying my product after looking at this, what is the number 1, 2, and 3 alternative purchases? This allows you to understand maybe you can do something about the listing to make the offer more premium, more interesting compared to the alternative purchases, or maybe revise the whole strategy here. And of course, super important if you have a product that is not just bought once in a life, let's say here, it's important to work on the repeat purchases and subscribe and save. So on Amazon, you can actually make people subscribe for getting automatically your products each week, months, or a year. They can choose. And you want to track of how many repeat buyers do you have. This can be achieved by both looking into subscribe and save analytics. And of course, if you go to the brand analytics, you can see the repeat buyers tendency for the past weeks, quarters, and the year. And if we actually move to the next slide, here we have a super exciting launch that Amazon did for the brands, for the brand sellers. Actually, now we have Search Query Report, which basically provides visibility into the performance of the top search terms associated with your brand based on the customer search behavior. So this report shows you the query volume, impressions, clicks, add to cart, and purchases. So now adding, we of course have a lot of tools like ZoneGuru, where you can get a lot of insights about competitors, about your product. And as a complement to this information, now we can also see how people are interacting with your brand. You can see, for instance, search query volume shows you the overall volume for searches for different queries, which gives you super nice insights about how big this query is and whether you really want to focus on this one and how it represents for your brand. And then you can see in this report all the queries to find the brands, and you can see the percentage, how often do the people click on your brands compared to other ones, and the total amount of brands that actually are in this niche. And later, you also see among those people that visit your listing, how many of those are actually adding to cart and later purchase. So you can see the whole customer journey and then understand whether you really want to work on the traffic side or you really need to pay special attention to the detail page, ensure you have more add to carts and more purchases. So you can find this in brand analytics. There is going to be a button, view search analytics, and then search query performance beta. I highly recommend checking it for all the brand owners and see how customers are actually interacting with your brand.
Yeah, thank you very much for some insights. I believe that Andrei can speak about the data for hours and about how to evaluate the data and use different metrics. But it's very important to communicate, especially in the beginning, and to not lose some important information when selling on Amazon. Here, I would like to jump to the next slides, and there are two representatives of ZoneGuru and Merchant Spring, and I mean this slide, they outline the most important, the key features that, for example, ZoneGuru has. And in this case, I will be giving a word to Veronica and ask to represent and show how it can actually help sellers in the everyday life.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So going on for what these guys have been talking about data. So, introduction to ZoneGuru. I'm Veronica, part of the ZoneGuru team, obviously, and you already have a kind of an overview of what ZoneGuru is about. We are that Amazon business tool suite, offering the 17 tools. But moving on to the topic of data, which is what we're talking about today. And as the guys have shown you, there are so many data points you can and you should be tracking. But in order for the data to make sense, especially in the beginning, because it can be extremely overwhelming, you need to be asking the right questions to be able to make data-driven decisions within your Amazon business. So I want you to think about, are you asking the right questions of the data, or could you be asking better questions? But how do you know if you're asking the right questions of your data? What are you supposed to be looking at? So I just wanted to quickly touch on context. When you are asking a question about your business data, it should never be one-dimensional, but it should be in context. So you're not asking, what keywords should I use? You're asking, what are the best keywords I need to include in my listing that my competitors are not optimized for, that my customers are truly using to find my product on Amazon, and what works best for Amazon's algorithm. So it's a simple example of how you need a 360-degree view, or you should be aiming to address each time you ask a question in your business, and therefore be able to, again, make that data-based decision to drive your business forward. So you're always looking at your position in relation to your competition, marketplace, Amazon, and customers. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to show you 2 examples. So 2 questions, and how ZonGuru's data is used to, take your Amazon business forward. So the first question that we're asking of the data. So we've got data, we need to ask a question, and then from that answer, implement into our business. So first, again, the context. So I want to create a new PPC campaign, let's say, for example. So what keywords do I use? So my question that I'm asking the data that we're about to look at is, what competitive keywords are my competitors not ranking for? So that's the first question that we'll be answering. And question number 2 is, am I the best listing on page 1? So I want you to think about your Amazon businesses. Could you actually answer that question objectively? Subjectively, you could be like, yeah, I'm sick. What I've created here is amazing. But objectively, could you tell me, yes, I am the best listing on page 1? So what we're going to do in a second, I'm going to show you how we can answer these 2 questions with the data using ZonGuru's Keywords on Fire and listing optimization tool. So hopefully everything's loading up nicely. All right, so I'm in ZonGuru's dashboard. This is our business dashboard, and this is obviously connected to your Seller Central account. So from the beginning, you see an overview of what exactly is happening in your business, which is obviously very important. But now, again, our focus is question 1, what keywords are my competitors not ranking for? So all our tools are here on the left-hand side. Under listing optimization, we have our Keywords on Fire tool. So our Keywords on Fire tool is a reverse ASIN lookup where ZonGuru collects the most relevant, impactful, and strong keywords that firstly your competitors are ranking for and are using in their listing, but also the keywords that your customers are writing into Amazon's search engine, as we are official partners of Amazon. And this search can be done in 2 different ways. You can manually add the ASINs here, or if you have a phrase, my example today, my product will be an exercise band. I'm selling in the United States, and I press search. We actually collect the top 25 ranking products that are ranking for the main buyer turn exercise band. We can select, you can review, deselect if you like, add them, add a session, and run. So that's how the search is conducted. But once you go into your Keywords on Fire tool, you get a lot of data points. Now, if you're a beginning, you can look at this and you're like, wow, there's a lot of numbers in here. I'm not quite sure what you're looking at. I have to go back and revise all those definitions that the guy showed previously. But that's why you go in with a question. So again, what keywords are my competitors not ranking for? So as an overview of what you're looking at here on Keywords on Fire, we've got information from Amazon as well as 25 of my top competitors, and we've given you 493 keywords. Again, relevant, most impactful, strong keywords. But then you can actually filter them down. So over here, there's a number of ways you can do that, but specifically for here, the top 3 ASINs, I want to be the ones that they do not rank for. So top 3 ASINs, there's 113 keywords that they do not rank for. When I say they do not rank for, it means that they are not ranking in the top 25. But if they're my top competitors, why aren't they ranking for these keywords, Veronica? Maybe those keywords are just no good. I hear you. So we can filter even further and make sure there is demand on these keywords as well. So you can go to the filters here, search volume, greater than or equal to. We want to make sure there's 2,000 search volume. Now I've got 45 keywords. I want to continue. So we want low competition, high demand keywords. So we can go into ratings as well. I want to go to less than or equal to, and we'll go 1,000 ratings. Oops, sorry, I've done the wrong thing. Ratings less than or equal to 1,000 It's not working for me right now, and I'm not quite sure why. But the idea is that you can continue filtering down. Usually when I do this, it comes up with 11 keywords. So then I would have 11 keywords to create a PPC campaign that answers the question, what keywords are my competitors not ranking for? And then you can go and create a PPC campaign for. So that's question one. So that's how I've gone into the data, asked a question, I've answered it with data, and then I put it directly into my business. I take action on that. My question two, if you remember, was about the listing. How do I know that I am the best listing on page one? So the first bit of a listing, we obviously know to create an epic listing, you need to be using, again, most relevant, powerful, impactful keywords, and then you put those words into your listing. So we've done our keywords on fire session. You have these 439 keywords. You can add filters if you would like to and look at that data further. I'm going to say that I'm happy with these keywords that are on the page here. Now, instead of exporting, because that can be a little bit of a fluff, you can actually save this to ZonGuru, because our keywords on fire tool and our listing optimizer tool actually work hand in hand and make it much easier for you. So you simply go ahead, save this, name it, and save it. And then I go to our listing optimizer tool. Now, our listing optimizer tool, the whole aim or goal of this tool is to create a listing that you know you have out-optimized your competitor. So the question we're asking here, am I number one? Can I objectively say, yes, I've out-optimized my competitors? This tool gives that answer directly to you. So there are two aspects here. The left-hand side, we have our keywords. So I've already obviously added information here, but I would go to add, import from keywords on fire session. You've got all the keywords saved here that you've previously made. So that's where my keyword list is there, that up from my previous session, and I add it. It's all loaded up here. So that's step one. Step two here, it represents something that, or it is a listing. And we've got two epic features here. The first one being is that you can actually compare side by side up to 9 ASINs. So you can see exactly what is happening in that listing. That's number one. And number two, so this is a competitor ASIN that I've added, I can actually see their back-end search terms now, which is obviously a huge benefit, knowing that information, because you can't see that information on Amazon itself. So two features, you're comparing side by side and you can see their back-end search terms. So I've got 3 ASINs here, but it's super easy to add those 8 ASINs. So my exercise band, this is ZonGuru's Chrome extension. You want your top competitors. We have a special feature that indicates top clicks. So this is number 2. We've got 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, you can go by revenue as well. I'm going to get this one here because I don't believe I have it added in here yet. And you can see very quickly how everything loads in. So we'll give that a moment to load in.
Meanwhile, I have a question. It's so interesting to see that you can provide a backend keywords for the listings of competitors. And I'm just wondering, is it something that is exactly the same? Like, how accurate is this data? Because seeing basically what the competitors are having in the backend, it's such valuable information for later outcompeting and maybe using some other keywords. So yeah, just wondering, like, how accurate is it? Like exactly the same if you would go on the competitor backend?
Yeah, so we, as I said earlier, we are an official partner of Amazon. So the data that Amazon is willing to share with us, we get that straight from Amazon. Obviously, a lot of the data, there's not a lot of it, but many of it is, we have our own formulas and our estimates. With keywords, it's very tricky to create a formula or estimate. So yes, this is directly of what exactly the competitor is using in their backend search terms, which, yeah, as I said, not in Amazon, no other tool is doing that. So it is a major benefit to you and knowing exactly that. So on here, to finish off, okay, so what exactly are we looking at? I say that you're comparing your ASINs side by side. What exactly are you comparing? You're comparing this optimization score. So this optimization score is the overall quality of the listing calculated by the strength of the keywords used and where they are placed. So for example, this listing is 24,000. We've got 25,000, 20,000. and 24,000. So for this example, I'm going to pretend that this is my listing or your listing that I'm helping you on. And from the numbers here, I can tell you that based on how you're using your keywords and where you have placed them, you have your listing is weaker. So now that we've got our keywords on the left-hand side, we can make changes to increase this score over. So I'm going to show you how very quickly you can make these changes. So this score is 20,000. I've created a new title earlier and I've pasted that in. This title is based on all the keywords on the left-hand side. So it's not my product. I don't know the product, but just based on the left-hand side. And my score's already jumped to 10,000. So very quickly, again, using the most relevant strong keywords, I've been able to increase this score. You obviously continue going, editing your listing. And then when you get down to back-end search terms, say all these words that are bold, it means that they haven't been included yet. So I can actually click on them and they're automatically added. So a bit quite convenient for you there. So my score continues to grow and now it is at 34,000. So I can say, yep, I'm happy with this. I can look at the other scores. I can give an objective measure. Yes, I have out-optimized my competitor. I'm confident to say that my listing will be the best listing on page 1. So again, I've asked a question, I've looked at the data, and now I've been able to implement that into my business. And the real cool, convenient thing is here, because your account is connected to Seller Central account, you actually go straight into here, publish on Amazon. You don't need to export, download flat files, fluff around there. It directly goes into your Seller Central account as well. Any questions there before I move on?
This is very convenient. I just want to mention, especially avoiding the inventory templates. It might be a great feature for most of the clients.
Yeah, and then obviously we've been talking about tracking data. We do have tools that track that, which I'll just touch on in our keyword tracker. You then add the ASIN in here. So I've got my ASIN in here. We give suggested words, but you can add your own words. So that, for example, you want to track the new words that you've just added, and we give you the positioning of that word and then the change of position once you add that to Zonguru's account. So where are we here? So I guess I've shown you the type of data-driven questions I'm asking and how I use Zonguru to make decisions in my Amazon business to move forward. So I guess unless you guys have any more questions, I'd like to suggest an offer to your audience.
Yeah, I believe that maybe just one thing I want to mention is what I have been speaking before today, is that Zonguru also provides an extension in order to evaluate, and I don't know, Veronica, if you have somewhere right now to show it, but it's a very convenient way to see competitor sales and see the search volumes. And this is what everyone needs to do before evaluating and starting sales on Amazon. So this is just one of the features that I really wanted to mention. And besides this, of course, like Zonguru has a lot of different things, and I believe you didn't show at least even half of all the features that you have as a tool. But this tool, especially like keywords and fire listing optimization, it's a very convenient way of getting your listing to the top page of the page. I remember a few years ago we've been using master keyword lists, and you've been having this. What you've been showing with the keywords, we've been having it in Excel sheets, and it was so inconvenient actually before, like tracking for which keywords what is the ranking of each competitor. And right now, when all these options are automated, it's just makes life easier. So yeah, a very, very great presentation, and I believe that yeah, thank you. No words here. I believe just I want to say for myself, just go and try it, because it takes time to get used to the new tool. And you need to spend a bit more time to navigate around, but definitely worth it.
Yeah, and yeah, thank you for your comments. But 100%, something that I do want to add is like a lot of this. I mentioned that I'm Amazon seller, but a lot of, or if not majority of the Zonguru team are actually all Amazon sellers. So our CEO John Tilley, our CTO, a lot of our customer success team, we're all Amazon sellers. So, and we all use Zonguru within our Amazon businesses as well. So everything, all our tools are it doesn't need to be complex. There are a lot of tools out there that there's a lot happening, or I feel like it is quite intuitive. If you know, again, if you have the question, you know what you're looking for, is very easy to find. I just brought up on the page the tool that you were talking about. So we have our sales spy tool, which gives basically shows historical data of how an ASIN has performed. So that's what you're looking at here. So we've got revenue, but we've also got BSR as well. So when you're doing your product research, as Mark mentioned, we have 17 tools that are all on the left-hand side. So it's from product research, product validation, our keyword research. Again, keywords, I always say our keyword on fire tool is the OG rule tool, because it is keyword research is used at every aspect of your Amazon business, whether it's product research, creating a listing, searching for your PPC, and then obviously PPC, you're always, and your listing, you're always revising them. So it does continue. Now I know that we obviously have we have to hear from James as well. So I just quickly want to finish on that. Obviously, I've spoken about ZonGuru and what data we can provide, what questions or what type of questions we can answer. So I do want to offer something to all of you who are watching this. If you'd like to see how your listing specifically stands up against your competitors, we're actually offering a free custom listing report created specifically to you, your ASIN. So you give us those details, and you can get that when you sign up for a 7-day free trial with ZonGuru. So that's a link there. Hopefully when this is posted, we can drop it in the comments or something like that, so you guys can take advantage of that.
Thank you very much, Veronica. It was a great presentation, and I believe even we at INNELS right now this summer we are launching a couple of new brands on Amazon, and with the help of ZonGuru, we will probably also try to create a product listing. And I believe it's a very great tool. And one more time, thank you very much. Since we are a bit of short on time, and I also want to jump to the next speaker and say that Merchant Spring is a tool that we also have been using for some time, and Merchant Spring provides us a very great overview. I would even say that recently, since I'm not directly managing different operations on Amazon, I don't use Sell Central so much. Now I just go to the Merchant Spring and I just scroll through the data there, and I can actually see a lot of interesting insights. Merchant Spring is connected to the Amazon and gets data in real time, and Merchant Spring gives me a very great overview about all the different things. But I better leave it to James, since I believe he can tell way better. And again, on the screen you can see main features of Merchant Spring. And I believe if you, James, can share your screen.
Yep. Thanks, Mark. I think I've done that now.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, I feel a little bit embarrassed coming after Veronica. She's done a very, very detailed job of explaining ZonGuru piece of kit. But in all seriousness, Merchant Spring really answers the question, like the high level question of, what's happening across all of the, the Amazons or Walmarts or whatever it is you're managing, right? We don't really consider ourselves an Amazon tool. Like, we consider ourselves a insights and dashboard tool. Like, we pride ourselves in, showing data in a really easy to digest way across as many channels as you like, right? So to give you a bit of a flavor, in other parts of the world, it's not just Amazon. It could be eBay and Amazon. It could be Amazon and, I don't know, Cdiscount if you're in France, or whatever it is. So we connect to, like, including all the domestic, all the different market variants, probably like 120 plus marketplaces around the world. So because of the problem we solve, the product is really designed for, like, agencies and aggregators, right, who have a lot of channels under management, INNELS being one of them, a lot of clients, a lot of channels under management. This answers probably Mark and Andre's daily question of, how are all my clients doing? They can come in here, in a couple of clicks, that they can see all their clients in one place, right? So I guess it's not doing anything that's rocket science. I guess it's providing the data to Mark and Andre in a very easy to digest way, very, very quickly. So I mean, they're getting, I guess, the most out of the data using this tool, right? From a high level, from an observation level. The tool really, I guess, using INNELS as an example, like because it's, this whole webinar is about data and using it smart and all that kind of stuff. Like the way that agencies, aggregators, and some larger brands use this is because it's so easy to digest. You can have multiple logins to this. So, for example, in Mark's case, his clients may log in. It's all INNELS branded, as you can see on screen, and they can come in and interact with the data without being like overly confused. Like Veronica mentioned that, there's lots of tools out there that can give data overload. I think this is probably the tool where, a 5-year-old child can tell you how much profit an ASIN makes, right? It's like very, very, very simple. But just on that, like, we don't just kind of stay at a high level. Like you can drill down quite deep as well. So you can come from this agency view. You can go down into a particular Amazon account and get into the nitty gritty of, profitability at an ASIN level, cover off some of those fancy metrics that Andre mentioned earlier, like TACOS and all this stuff that, I have limited knowledge about. But yeah, the overall problem that this is solving and the question that it's answering is what's going on across the channels that I manage, and answering it really, really quickly, allowing you to really cut through the noise. So yeah, I mean, I'll just pause there. I know I'm looking at Mark here. I can see his brain ticking very, very quickly. Is there anything you want that you want me to cover off specifically?
I can also recommend, say from the user perspective, that maybe like how I see it. And again, you added a value to our agency as well with the Merchant Spring. And this is something that before even starting with the new clients, we say that sometimes you cannot really see the data in the same way on Seller Central. And it took us a long time before to explain, actually, for those who don't manage Seller Central accounts and don't really see all the operations, it takes time for them to go in the business reports in the Seller Central. It takes time for them to understand where I can see maybe like they know what is click-through rate, for example. How can I see it? Why I can see it by parent and by child, and what is the difference? And all these questions came up, and actually the Merchant Spring gave us an opportunity to a chance actually to reduce this time of answering these questions, because it's just way easier to explain the data in the Merchant Spring. And one of the things what I really like is that the breakdown by all the different like category breakdown, product breakdown, sales. The same for the advertising, the ads, the marketing, different. You can see here on the left. What is very interesting for us is to show a full picture, full profit and loss statement for the clients. So when I speak about this, I mean that when we are actually evaluating the data, and this is why I actually asked James to speak like in the end of this webinar, is to conclude that you always need to keep track, and even if you don't manage the account, you need to understand how your business is going. And this page exactly where James is at, it's a channel profit, which brings you all different costs in one place. And you can also enter there your cost of goods and your cost of shipping to Amazon FBA, and see profit in different markets, in different currencies, and different date ranges for specific Seller Central account. And as James mentioned, even more, but we're focusing right now only on Amazon. And maybe one question, James, it just would be interesting to know how long did it took you to build this, and was it always like so agency specific, and was it before maybe like more seller oriented? And would be interesting like if you had any pivots or just like changes in the development.
Yeah, it's a very funny question, Mark, and I know we're short on time, but really long story short is we kind of used to be a sort of an agency, right?
Okay.
We used to do minor work for different sellers. Long story is it was too hard. We built this tool, started using it ourselves, and the clients were like, we just want the tool. Like that's really how it started. And then other agencies were like, yeah, I want to use this as well. So that's really how we pivoted into this. And it's a short way of saying, yeah, that's why it's really designed for agencies and consultants and aggregators, basically someone with a lot of accounts, and sometimes that's brands as well.
Is it right now mostly Amazon sellers using? I mean, mostly Amazon accounts connected to Merchant Spring, or?
No, it's actually quite an even spread. Like, what's interesting, in some markets, eBay is particularly important. In some markets, Walmart is particularly important. I mean, if you look at France, I think it's neck and neck. Like, my answer would vary depending on the country, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you very much for answering and presenting. I believe, as you, James, also mentioned, we are a bit out of time, and a couple of words that I want to say here is that when you're watching this webinar later, we will also send it over in different places. I would say that if you are interested as well to see how we work at INNELS, we are offering a small research or audit if you don't sell on Amazon at all. If you sell, the research includes the different things that we could recommend you in order to how to do better on Amazon. And audit includes different things on what is the market looks like, what is the market potential specifically for your brand and for the product. So don't hesitate to reach out if it's interesting for you. And as a last slide, I would also like to say that on the right, you can see how to find maybe on LinkedIn. I hope it's okay if you just say that James and Veronica, you can find on LinkedIn, and of course interact with the Zone Guru and Merchant Spring if it's relevant and interesting for you. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much one more time. Thank you, James and Veronica. It was great to have you as a guest speakers. It was, I think, a very interesting webinar with a lot of data, a lot of interesting information. So I wish you all a very great day, and talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you. See you later.